Owners Off Script. Real owners, real conversations. Supported by SalesGeek.
Welcome to another edition of Owners Off Script. You're joined with me, it's Richard, and today's guest is somebody who I go way back with in our banking world many years ago. Is Mr. Adam Brooks, a now UK-based financial advisor and director of Brooks Financial Planning Limited, a Cornwall-based wealth management practice focused on long-term financial planning for individuals and also businesses. With a background in banking, almost spanning 2 decades of experience in financial services, he positions himself as a relationship-driven advisor, helping clients manage, grow, and protect their wealth through tailored, ongoing advice. Not a bad intro, eh?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Tick all the boxes on that one?
I think so, yeah. I think you got it all.
20 years?
Nearly, yeah.
Wow. How have you stayed looking so young?
Stress is amazing. No, I don't know. I think I've always had a bit of a baby face.
Yeah.
So I definitely, when I got into my mid-20s and I could grow a beard, the beard came out just to age me a little bit.
At what point were you last asked for ID for alcohol?
Yeah, probably around about that sort of time, like 25, I think.
25?
Yeah, 25.
Wow. Listen, there's no secret. We go back a long way, you and I. We both spent some time working for a bank on a similar trajectory, actually, as we were discussing earlier on. And my time way before the radio, I was a bank manager, financial consultant. But your journey through the banking world was slightly different, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I joined the bank after coming from a really great, illustrious career in fast food.
Okay.
So, yeah, I finished school. I did pretty well at school, to be fair, for somebody who maybe didn't apply themselves as much as they should have done in school. But I came out a really good GCSEs. I did my A-levels, or applied to college to do my A-levels, and I found pretty much about 2 months in that maybe this isn't for me. I had no sort of direction at that point on what I wanted to do. I decided to get into the big wide world. And as most people do, you get to 16, who's going to hire? McDonald's came a calling. So I joined McDonald's part-time, then went full-time. Carried on not going to college, but I did sit my AS levels. I did pass them, actually, and I got asked to come back.
What were your subjects?
Physics, maths, environmental science, and electronics.
And how are they working out for you?
Yeah, really well. Yeah, wire a plug. I have no idea what's going on in the world at the moment in regards to environmental studies, but physics is always a little bit of a passion. Maths is relatively good, but that type of maths is not really
It's not what
our
you
bag.
do.
No, not our bag. So yeah, McDonald's came calling, and then they opened a Pizza Hut next door, and they were offering 20p an hour more. So
you didn't do the dirty on McDonald's.
I moved over 20p an hour at a 17-year-old at that point.
Wow.
It was worth it. That's an extra pint.
Actually, back then you might have even squeezed 2 or 3 pints.
Because the where I lived. So yeah, probably was about a pint back then.
Wow,
was brilliant. So yeah, playing rugby at weekends, working during the week, and enjoying my life. And then I saw an advert in the paper for a personal banking manager at a local branch, and I went, wouldn't mind having to go at that. And I've got family that was in banking anyway. I applied for it, I did my interview, and I didn't get the job.
Okay.
But they liked me enough to say, maybe we can get you a job somewhere else. So I got in as a cashier. I started literally at the
number
bottom.
1.
Yeah, I started at the bottom. And within 6 months of doing that, they must have seen something in me, because they gave me the job then that I originally applied for.
The banking sector, that's what we're looking at now, 2010?
Yeah,
maybe around then?
Probably further back then, 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very salesy back then as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was all target driven.
You used to have to do products and services, I remember.
Yeah,
something like that.
It was not,
product and points.
Shall we say, not maybe overly advice driven. It was all very much, product based. Getting people to upgrade current accounts, getting people to look at, say, their debt management, things like that, for example.
Open a savings account.
Yeah, exactly. Putting money away, identifying if there was too much on the current account, actually the benefits of saving. So that's probably my sort of opening into the world that I do now.
Did that fascinate you back then?
Yeah, it fascinated me that why you get to see quite a lot of people when you're in the bank. And you've got to remember, back then, banks were actual banks. We've got 2 of the banks that we worked at left now. In the county, when we were there was probably good 40
There was a lot.
And people used them. So you got to see everybody from all walks of life. And naturally, you see their current account when they come in and do their checking and banking or whatever they were doing. And you wondered, what are these people doing and why are they holding maybe more money on there than you would like normally see. And that got me slightly curious, and then would refer it to one of our senior personal banking managers, and they would look into it and give them some options. So I went, yeah, I could probably do that.
And you did. You progressed through, didn't you?
Yeah, I was really good at the sort of identifying the need, shall we say. So being as a cashier, like I said, within 6 months, I was the number one sort of referrer in the Southwest and I was working at Weybridge. And they went, yeah, maybe you should, rather than refer it, how about you do it? And yeah, we moved up the ranks, shall we say, pretty quickly.
I would say the training was pretty good at the bank.
It was amazing.
I got sent to Birmingham for 6 weeks of training up there, and it was like a live-in accommodation. It was quite a lot, but I think that gives you the grounding into where you've gone on to. So after the world changed a bit in financial services, didn't it? So advice-driven services disappeared, and a lot of the time now, if you go to the bank, you've got to watch a screen, and they can't click past it until you've watched it because so many people have been claiming for mis-selling.
Yeah.
And now there's a situation, of course, where there's a big gap in financial advice.
Yeah.
Now, I'm right in saying your dad was in financial services as well?
Yeah.
He went off to do his own thing.
Yeah, he did.
Did you follow him?
No, so yeah, my dad was in Lloyd's private banking. He actually was part of there was a cohort of about 5 or 6 people at that time that created the wealth division for Lloyd's, which became Moat Banking, as they call it now. And so, yeah, he was quite instrumental in that, really enjoyed doing that type of the work. But yeah, when the 08-09 financial crisis hit, it was quite a big shock for that industry. Regulations completely amended and changed for the right reasons. And then when it got to about 2011, 2012, I think the writing became on the wall that the bank were just like, maybe we should concentrate on our core objectives, which are traditional banking. And pretty much all of them then pulled out of the market. At that point then, my dad decided to continue his career, but on his own, and start up a financial advice arm in Cornwall. I was still continued in the bank, and I was like, yeah, I always liked that side of the job. I enjoyed conversing with people. I like the problem solving element of our role, and then formulating a recommendation. And when banking came from formulating a recommendation to you choose as a Mr. Client, Mr. Customer.
Who has no idea what they're picking.
You have to choose it, and we're just here to click the button. I had to leave. So I applied to several sort of wealth management companies around the country.
Why didn't you go to your dad?
I didn't. It probably wasn't ever the right time. Dad had his own smaller business. I needed to get some more experience in my world. I needed to see a bit more of the world as well. And I want to do it on my own, right? I'm one of these people that's really driven.
You're quite driven.
To do it myself, yeah. And it would have been probably easy to do that, but I don't think it would have been right for either of us. So I had 5 different offers from large firms all around the country, and I finally found myself in Somerset. It was between that and London, but
Not anywhere in Somerset though, right?
no.
You had a nice little view, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I walked into Taunton, not ever actually remember being there apart from the one time I went there with the bank for a course, and you never went into the town.
No.
It was always on the outskirts. So I went into the town. First day that I arrived there, I got there about a week earlier than I was supposed to. And I kind of went to my new firm. And bear in mind, this was not an employed role. I was leaving an employed role from a banking where I was doing really. And I went full self-employed in a new county that I've never been to, a new town. I didn't know anybody. So I walked in and I said, where should I live? Where would be good to live? And he said, look, there's a place opposite us that's just got somewhere that you can rent and it's open now. And I know the guy that's let you can have that. I was like, great. It was overlooking the county cricket ground. So that, and I think he was being quite smart, my old boss, because he looked at it and went, look, if he's going to live there, then he's going to have to work hard, because that wasn't cheap to rent with no income as well. So yeah, I had this amazing 2-bedroom apartment that was just for myself. And I'm not a really huge cricket fan, but I could appreciate the game, and I could literally sit out of my living room window.
Do you like cricket now?
No.
You still don't?
No. The first cricket game I ever played was at Taunton for the firm I used to work for. And they are all massive cricket nuts. And they thought it was hilarious that they would put me in as first batsman. And the and we were playing, and the guy that was bowling against me was an ex-professional cricketer for Somerset.
And how did that work out?
At a duck, yeah, I was out for the net.
Okay, let's move on from that time because I don't want to bring trauma and PTSD back to you.
No, it's fine.
You have then gone on your journey and you've made it back home, a place that you're very fond of. Cornwall is your home and you're proud to be in Cornwall working. So how did it come about that you ended up working then at Brooks? Because that was Dad's business, right?
After doing sort of my journeyman story and learning the ropes, as it were, I actually built up a pretty strong base of clients, predominantly Southwest, but Bristol mainly and down to Exeter. Not a huge amount actually in Cornwall at that point. But Dad was building up his business and he said, actually, I need probably a little bit of help. We're building good traction. I need an advisor. And succession, right? There's a succession element of all of this. So we had a really good conversation. And he said, look, I would like you to come down. And I said, look, if I do that, I've got to somehow bring all my clients into this. And I need to make sure it works because working with family, normally the easiest thing. And so I did just over 2 years of effectively just being an advisor, self-employed advisor again in our practice, running the clients that I have built up myself and then building up new relationships. I actually had a little...
Was it a good transition for you?
Yeah, it was. It was quite a tough one because we moved. So at that point, I was just recently married. My wife had a career in conveyancing. She worked for a firm in Taunton and we wanted to move a little bit further down because makes it easier. So we moved from Taunton to Exeter. And then I was just doing crazy miles. I had this mantra, I never worked a weekend, right? I was always like, weekends are sacred. But Monday to Friday, it didn't make a difference. It was 8 in the morning or 10 at night. I will be available for work. And I would rack up probably somewhere close to about 45,000 miles a year.
What were you driving?
At the time, when I joined at Taunton, I had a Mercedes C-Class.
That's dreadful. 45,000 miles sat in a Mercedes.
And then I changed that to a Q5 because I was doing a bit better. And then when I moved to Exeter, I'm not ashamed to say, I actually got myself the most reliable vehicle on the market, a Range Rover Sport.
Yeah.
And I did 125,000 miles in that Range Rover.
How long did it spend in the garage?
Actually, none. I was so lucky, right? I had no problems with that car at all, apart from new boots. I did 125,000 in 3 years.
That stands me well, by the way, because I've just maybe ordered a Discovery, so that stands me well.
I have a Land Rover at the moment, so it's like, I think you have, my dad's had terrible luck with his, so I think he's had all my bad luck, but I've done way more miles than he has.
And maybe the issue.
Yeah, maybe you need to really...
So how's the dynamic then worked with you and Dad at Brooks? Because now time's moved on, Dad's taking a little bit more of a backseat and you're stepping up now, aren't you?
Yeah. What happened in 2020, during the later part of 2019, we needed to work out how the succession was really going to play. And what happened is I effectively bought into the practice. So I bought some shares off Dad. And I did that actually about 3 days before we went into lockdown. It was the worst financial decision immediately because...
So your biggest regret? Or?
No, it was the best thing that I did. But at the point then, values dropped because obviously markets dropped heavily and I couldn't go and see anybody. And I was working like, how am I going to service and deal with this business that I've bought in? And we're all stuck inside. So that
But it makes it real though when you put your own money in because Dad could have even said, look son, here's 10%. And gifted you something.
Oh, no, yeah. We're probably a little bit harsh and we're not really that big sort of gifting family. We're quite a big grafting family. So if you want it, you got to earn it. And if you want to have it, you got to buy it, sort of thing.
Does that mean that you value it differently?
Oh, yeah, because it's my own blood, sweat and tears. So from that 2020 up to where we are now, the practice is probably nearly doubled in value. The amount of money that we manage for our clients has doubled during that period of time. Our team has doubled in size. We came from just myself as Dad as an advisor to, we currently have 6 advisors. Just about to take on the 7th who joins our academy in the 11th of May, which is a completely new way that we're looking at bringing people into our industry.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. It may seem a bit tough, but do you ever get the feeling people just look at you and think, you're where you are because of your dad, or do you think by buying into it has negated that issue?
Probably, but then people don't need to know that I bought into it or not. It doesn't really bother me like
You're not
that.
affected by what people think?
Not really, no, because people can have their own opinions, right? Ultimately, I know that I've had to work hard for it. Dad knows I've had to work hard for it. My family know I've had to work for it. My close friends know I've had to work hard for it. And we've built what we built to this point. We're still growing. And it's seen that way because, as I said, during that sort of 5 to 6 year period since I first bought into where I am now, is Dad has completely taken a step back. I rebranded, I changed our outlook in the world. I brought in new people. I've dropped the age group drastically. We completely reinvented the business to be as future-proof as we possibly could, to be honest.
Do you almost feel like, without having to say it, but you've justified your position to yourself? So damned if you do, damned if you don't by everybody else.
It's mine. It's completely my burden to take on now.
Yeah.
So if it works and it's great for everybody, and if it doesn't, it's all my fault, and that's fine. I'm quite happy in that sort of position because I know that it won't fail, because as long as I've got control on it, I can deal with it.
And so Dad's still in the business?
Yeah.
You got other family in the business?
Yeah, my wife works in there now. We're dragging everybody in. So
how old are the children?
6, 3 and 1.
So when do they start?
Yeah, it was quite funny. On a Thursday, just before the breakup on Easter, my oldest had to come into work for us because it's the last day of tax year end, and it's absolutely mad. So yeah, I had to sort of sit in the corner doing her sort of colouring and whatever she wanted to do.
Oh, so that was your child, not you?
No, yeah, I would love to have done that, to be honest. But yeah, get him early. She's got. If you ever ask my oldest, what does Daddy do? She says, I look after money, and that my claim to fame apparently is I look after Paddington Bears money. Oh. I don't, but the reason for that is that I used to go to London quite often, get the train to Paddington. I'll normally take a sort of selfie picture to show her that I've arrived with Paddington Bear, and she's just assumed that's why I'm there, is to go to Paddington, which is very cute.
What's been some of the highlights of now running your own business? Bearing in mind, back in the day, we had the bank, we were employed, there was guaranteed money every month. Then you go from that to self-employed on your own, big rent in Exeter, to where you are now. What's been some of the highlights?
I think the highlight, the bit I always remember is that first year. That first year was tough, man. It was tough.
Talk me through it. What happened?
I said I left a very well-paid job in Cornwall, a very well-paid job in most places in the country, to be completely self-employed and find myself in a new area. All the bills were still the same, right? You still got to pay your rent. You still got to pay your car lease, whatever it is. You still got to eat and travel, and there's massive mileage. My fuel bill was 20 times as large as it used to be. And then it's all down to, you're only going to get paid if you can onboard new clients, if people will trust you and believe in what you're doing for them. And that was tough. And I won't sugarcoat it. That first year, I probably would think, have I done the right thing initially in the first 6 months? Because when you're sitting there and actually your savings are now gone, and you're...
How old were you?
25.
So you actually had savings at 25?
So I had savings because, again, being in the bank and earning good money, you used to get bonuses, right?
Yeah. Hey, we can't talk about banker's bonus, can we?
I know, right?
It's not, let's be straight, right?
This is not,
it's not
that.
It's not London banker bonus.
No, this was
it's Truro High Street banker bonus, which was probably enough to buy the McDonald's that you'd left.
Yeah, exactly. So it's graft for 7 or 8 years, do the share safe schemes that they used to do anything you could to try and accumulate a bit of money. And I probably had about maybe 7 grand to my name at that point. That's not going to last very long.
No.
That's probably 3 months. So I gave myself 3 months, right? After that 3 months, I was like, I don't have any of that left. Actually, after 12 months, I was 10 grand in debt as well. But I had traction.
You believed in yourself.
I took that pain. It cost me, 17 grand, 17,500 pounds in that first year of my own money to do the job that I felt that I should do. By the end of that year, I had a bit of traction, I had some good clients, I was building up some good network in an area, like I said, I didn't know at all. I had nobody. That second year, I went from the end of my year 2, I finished that with no debt and paid for a wedding ourselves.
You're good with money then.
And then by the end of the 3rd year, we bought our first house.
And like I said, you're good with money, but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Talking to someone that's in wealth management.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, like, money's just choices. People go, money doesn't give you happiness. It just, I totally agree, right? Like, you can have all the money in the world and you can still be miserable, but it gives you the choice to be miserable.
Yeah.
Because when you have financial security, or whatever that looks like, and it'll be relative to an individual what that security is most important to them, when you can give them that security, then worries start to go, and actually people can be more happy, or they can do things that they want to do, right? And it's tough to get to that stage, right? So people got to go on this sort of really tough journey, but we've all been on it. I've been on it in a career, you've been on it personally in your finances, whatever it would be. But if you can have a sort of clear end goal of what does this look like, why am I doing the blood, sweat and tears, then that pays off. I'm really lucky that I've seen that for hundreds of people because of what we do, which is great.
So we talked about some of the good stuff. You mentioned some of the lows. Would you say you've got any regrets about anything in your career?
No, I don't think I do, actually. You always say, people say, I should have done it earlier. I don't think I could have. I think.
So how old were you when you went self-employed?
25.
Self-employed at 25?
25, self-employed financial advisor. And I looked 18. So.
Well, the stubble hadn't started then, had it?
No. So it was like.
Have you actually shaved since 25?
Yeah. It's that whole, you think you've got to be clean shaven and clean cut and wear the suit and all the other stuff. And you put on your suit of armour, as it were, to try and justify your existence in a world that the average age of a financial advisor is 58.
Did you feel out of place?
Yeah, 100%. I was the youngest person in that firm. I was one of the youngest people nationally doing the job, right? And even now, I don't know the exact statistics, but there is a huge percentage of people that are 30 and over in our industry, and not that many are 30 and under. And so you're hedging against, you're talking to people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, most likely, and you've got not that much life experience. You're trying to help them with their own, what they've built.
How did they accept that advice though? Because surely they're looking at you going, God, this guy's fresh out of nappies and he's trying to tell me what to do with my £500,000 or £1 million.
I think the way that I dealt with it compared to maybe some of the others is I just made myself so technically brilliant that they were saying, you don't want to bamboozle people with info, and especially information that people don't understand. You know, don't throw acronyms and all this other stuff. You've got to be relatable.
Most people know what an ISA is, but that's probably the limit, right?
Yeah, but even then, they don't understand the nuances of the ISA and the fact that there are two options to invest in an ISA, and actually what even ISA stands for. And so you've got to use your knowledge to make them feel actually trusted, that this guy actually does know what he's talking about. And I played on the being younger. I played on the fact that unlike your 58 or 60-year-old advisor, you're building for retirement. I'm actually going to see you retired. I'm not going to retire with you. So I'm going to see you go through retirement.
That's a really valid point, actually. I didn't really think about it that way, because I'm 40-something, and through my journey, you'll see me come to the end, hopefully, of my journey, and have advised me the right way through. Whereas if someone's 58, they've cleared off. Then what happens? You've got to start all over again with somebody. But what happens when you get to 55 and you're advising somebody who's in their 30s?
So my ethos within our practice is that our average age of advisors are in their mid-30s. So we are 20 odd years junior in age compared to our peers. And I still want to bring those people in. So I'll give everybody a shot if I can. So we've got, our youngest is 27, just turned 27. Dad's the oldest, just turned 60. And then but the rest are all...
Do you look at that 27-year-old going out for their first go thinking, that was me?
Yeah, it was tough, yeah. And we have a really good relationship with our guys who've just taught me through what's going on in your world, how you're dealing with this, how you're coping, because generally most people don't have industry experience. They might have come from something that's very similar, but not actually financial advice, not at that age.
Now, there's going to be some stuff you can and can't say, so pardon me if I get this wrong, but have you got any advice for anybody at the moment with some money in their bank? Someone, I don't know, whether it's general bit of savings or how to find a good advisor?
You should come speak to us if you want to. We're good advisors. People that have got money...
I set you up for that one, by the way.
Pete, thanks. People that have got money or are saving or just have money in the bank, I always just say, is your money working as hard as it was for you to put it in there in the first place? Because savings is tough. And in this world, as it is at the moment, we've got cost of living crisis, we've got Everything's more expensive. Inflation could be pushing up again. We're living through higher interest rates in this sort of newer generation, shall we say. I could just about remember it back from 07, 08 time. Those guys there, you've got to think, is your money going to work hard for you? The institutions and assets of, say, cash, for example, is only designed for short term. We know that because of our own grounds, but cash is designed for short term gain. It gives you flexibility, full flexibility. You lose out on its purchasing power over time. So your £10,000 in the bank today in 10 years' time is not...
It's depreciation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be worth... It would still say 10,000, but its purchasing power will be considered as...
I go back to 1977, not when I was born. I'm younger than that. Yeah. But my parents bought their first house for £10,000. Yeah. And you think, what can £10,000 buy you now? It can barely buy you a decent car, let alone a house.
Yeah.
That house probably now is worth £270,000. And if we put that into perspective, the cost of everything else has gone up: bread, milk, petrol, diesel. That £10,000 losing you money in the bank account.
Yeah, that's inflation.
If you just leave it there.
That's inflation, right? That's your eroder. If inflation's at 3.5%, you're only getting 2. You're losing 1.5% of your money every year, and it's compounding down. So your 10 grand could be worth 5 in relative purchasing terms by the time you need to use it. Our job is to find alternative assets, so where you can put that money into that has more appreciating options, where yes, if it's in the market, you might have an excellent year. Last year was a very good year for markets. Double-digit returns on average in equities. This year is down. We've got the problems that we have globally around the world. But if you mean that out over, let's say, a 10-year cycle or a 5-year cycle, you'll find that you generally are above that inflation line. So you'll know that your money is going to be worth the amount it should be worth when you come to use it. It's not about locking money away indefinitely that you can never touch. This is about giving you that right to use it when you choose to use it for the amount that it should be worth. That's our job.
We're getting quite close on time now, so a couple of quick things. How do you balance, quick answers, how do you balance work life and home life?
Difficultly. As Monday 9 to 5 isn't my bag. We don't have that. We have Monday to Friday, but generally I'm available and have to be available to my clients. And because I've done that from day one, that's kind of part of my MO with my clients. I'll get text messages, I'll get emails and all that sort of stuff. That's fine. So it's quite difficult during, say, the working week. I generally wouldn't have an appointment before 10 o'clock, but I'm free right until way later. Okay. That gives me a chance to drop my daughters to school and so forth.
That's important to you.
Yeah.
Sport's a massive thing in your life.
Yeah.
You sponsor Truro City Football Club. You're a big supporter down at the Pirates. Yeah. But that's all nothing really compared to your actual sport hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, they're my two passion projects.
Yeah, but what's your real sport?
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm a lawn bowler, which surprises a lot of people, but it's something I've done.
You must have lowered the average age of that as well.
Yeah, probably. I think I am still the youngest member of my club, which is worrying at nearly 38. But yeah, lawn bowls I've played. My granddad got me into it. He was a massive lawn bowls supporter, and he had that time. He was a managing director, CEO of a steel foundry group, but lawn bowls was his passion. He pushed that into both myself and my dad, actually. We've all represented our county, multiple county titles, national competitions, all that.
When are you going to bring curling to Cornwall?
Yeah, it's probably we haven't got the infrastructure. I would like to have a larger indoor bowling centre. We have 5 indoor bowling centres in Cornwall, but they're all quite small. We don't have what we would call a traditional 6-rink bowling, but if you go into every other county, they have it. Big infrastructure. Yeah. Our cousins next door in Devon have got 2 or 3 of them. Why should they have it? And I'd rather have that than curling, personally, but I wouldn't mind a sport I wouldn't mind having a go at.
Jam first or green first?
Yeah, jam first.
Just that always catches people.
Yeah, I know, yeah. My wife's from Bath, so she's the other way around.
We used to be having words. Bring her here, bring her here.
I know, right?
Next time it's her. And who is your biggest inspiration in business?
In business, probably, I try and find inspiration with myself, to be honest, but I take a bit of everything from everybody. And probably the first person that I really got used to seeing business and a business grow, and actually the scale of a business you could be. It was the place that I first worked off in Taunton. And Lee, who is the guy that founded that business, has grown that into an absolute behemoth of financial advice services. And they're just getting bigger and bigger, and they're opening up more and more all across the country. They're truly a national firm now. And just like the ethos and work ethic that guy had was instilled into me at an early age, which is probably why I got through that first year, to be honest.
Look, it's been absolutely brilliant catching up with you.
Yeah.
I said, having known you for well over a decade, it's nice to sit down and have a proper chat and find out a little bit more. And I was fascinated to find out only recently about your lawn bowls, but I definitely would love to put a challenge out there that my team can come and take on your team.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you're not allowed to play.
I'm not allowed to play. Okay,
No.
that's what
You up for that?
Yeah, I'll put Dad in instead.
He's also not allowed to
Yeah,
play.
no,
But
we should definitely do that. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
listen, you're a very kind and generous man to the business community. You give back as much as you put in, if not more. You support the great causes and the local sports teams, and you are a real sort of stalwart of Cornish business owners. So thank you
Thanks
for
for saying
everything, and a lot of respect for you in everything that you've tried to achieve and still going to go on to achieve.
Yeah, not done yet. It's only the start.
Yeah, it's just beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
Adam Brooks, thank you so much for coming on to Owners Off Script.
Thank you, Rich.
Join us for another Owners Off Script soon. Check out all of our socials, and if you want to get involved, the details will be in the chat. Thank you.
Owners Off Script. Real owners, real conversations. Supported by Soundgeek.